Welcome to Championship Weekend in the Western Ultimate League here in Thornton, Colorado. We are set for semifinal number 2 between host Colorado Alpenglow and San Diego Super Bloom. I am Katie Killebrew, and I am joined by Manisha Daryani, and we are excited to bring you a really great game between two teams.
I am so excited for this matchup, Katie. This was a matchup we saw earlier this season. It is almost kismet that we are getting to see these rematches. Let's be clear, Colorado losing in its first interaction between San Diego, and the question is, can they get their revenge today here on semifinal Saturday?
Well, the only matchup between these two teams happened on San Diego's home turf, which I believe was a flood warning, and they didn't even know if they were going to play the game, but it could not be better weather here in Colorado.
I mean, first of all, our hosts, Colorado, have done a huge and fantastic job of getting ready for this weekend of Ultimate. But more importantly, they are here for one thing and one thing only, and that is to win. But to get there, they must get through San Diego Super Bloom. The empire, so to speak, falling twice this season, twice to Bay Area Falcons. But let's talk about Alpenglow.
This is Alpenglow's second season, and they've really played a high-flying, exciting brand of frisbee. They've had games like this on this same field where we could see snow being shoveled off the field. So really an adaptable group, and one that is no stranger to highlight-level plays would be their stats leader.
I mean, right now, I think they're just glad that they don't have to wear 10 layers underneath their jerseys. This is beautiful weather, but to your point, a team that has utilized a roster and learned its lessons from last season, coming in very hot, very strong, and looking to strike against this Super Blue team. They can score in every which way. They can score up top, they can score deep, they can go little passes. This is a team that is going to give San Diego Super Bloom a lot of trouble, whether on offense, but also on defense.
Yeah, players that I would really be looking to is number 16, Abby Thorpe. Maybe a slightly unconventional road to ultimate stats leading, not really participating in a college ultimate program, going to the University of Dallas, starting a program there, saying bringing 7 people to a tournament. And this is actually the first time that this player has ever been coached at Alpenglow.
Which is just a scary thought. If you think about just how effective Abby has been this season on both sides of the disc. I mean, if you look at the stats, I mean, just looking at the number of receiving yards, throwing yards, you were talking about 1,400 receiving yards and 700 throwing yards. This is a player that is effective with the disc.
Yeah, and a big part of that will be the throws from Ari Nelson. Abby Thorpe is the goal leader in the league with only 2 seasons with Alpenglow, and Nelson's been a big part of that, unleashing throws all over the field.
Again, it's just so hard to talk about who do you even focus on when we're talking about Colorado Alpenglow, but really to your point, Ari Nelson cannot be overlooked. We are seeing these highlight clips, and I expect that we will be seeing and saying Ari's Nelson a lot today.
Absolutely. And I am really excited to see who else on this roster is going to step in. It could be Jade McLaughlin. It could be Sarah Ito. It could really be anyone. But maybe the team that is deeper is San Diego Super Bloom.
And I cannot speak more highly than San Diego Super Bloom, a team coming out of the Southwest Conference. Again, a team that went 4-2, a team that has been to finals twice, falling to Seattle. This their year. Is now the Seattle curse gone? But really, again, when you look at this Super Bloom team, this is a team that relies on star power. These players are excellent. They are going to give you highlight-worthy plays. They are going to put their body on the line for the disc, and they are going to make you stand up and say, dang.
And if you've been following Ultimate for a while, you will definitely have heard the names of Kayla Helton, Dina Elimelech, and Kristen Pajunas. All 3 are going to be World Ultimate players in the mixed division in Australia this year. They are all American talent, and they bring their talents to Super Bloom.
And whether they bring their talents or not, here's the thing. We're looking at Kayla, and I got to tell you, we are going to say Kayla's name a lot. And the only reason that's important is that this team thrives on Kayla's energy. Kayla is a distributor. Kayla is the person that's going to make the disc move. Kayla's going to be the person that helps you reset and is going to be the person that helps you think, hey, we still got it. But if you need that bailout, one person is going to be giving that to you, and that is Dina Elimelech. Just look at this extension play that Dina, and this is what we see. This is what we've been seeing year over year over year. I don't know when this player is going to stop. I think we're still seeing her reach her peak of ultimate, which is just wild to think about.
Yeah, she was one of the leaders in the 2019 National Championship game for UC San Diego, and they're bringing a lot of talent from that team to this Super Bloom roster. They're bringing the same coaches with Alicia Stown and Carlo Mosca, as well as an entire line of players. 7 players from that national title team are playing for Super Bloom now.
And you have to talk about how that chemistry matters. Again, a lot of people talked about when San Diego played the Falcons, when they did not have those San Diego players, they said, hey, this is not the same team. We are seeing a different offense. But guess what? Those players are here. We are still seeing a couple missing names that I think are going to be important, but in the end, this is the roster that Super Bloom needed to bring if they want to be able to challenge Alpenglow today. And I strongly believe we are going to have an incredible second semifinal.
And looking at how these teams got here, the conference is split into Northwest and Southwest. 3 teams in each division, and it was a close run in both divisions.
It was. I mean, it truly came down to the last weekend for the Northwest Conference. Utah eking in, eliminating Seattle, and guess what? They're in the finals. They had a great semifinal earlier today against the Bay Area Falcons, and the winner of this game has to take out that Utah team, which is on an upward trajectory. But again, to our point, San Diego, do not count them out. The only teams they have lost to this season are the Falcons, and the Falcons are out now. So everyone else, they know how to beat. They've shown how to beat. And now these teams, if you're Colorado, you have to get that monkey off your back.
And what a better place to do it than home. Home field advantage. They've played on this field many times. The stands absolutely starting to fill in with fans for both teams. I love seeing those mega fan jerseys, the baseball inspired. One of the things that the Western Ultimate League did as a fundraiser, and honestly, it is so gratifying to see exactly whose families are in the stand supporting them and cheering them on.
Well, the fans that I care about are the ones watching at home, and we are here to give you a great semifinal game. Again, we're looking to see, these are the introductions for these 2 teams, but let's talk briefly about the format. We saw briefly the card talking about the WL. If you've not watched the WL game before, this is a timed game. This is a game played on a larger field than what we describe as normal USAU style ultimate. But this is a game that works on pace, on a 7-second stall, and more importantly has a couple really interesting aspects of when this clock stops, which is when points are scored and when a quarter ends. The most interesting and I think fun aspect of this game is the fact that it ends on the possession, not on the clock.
Exactly. We'll hear a buzzer for when that clock ends, but that does not mean play is over. Whoever still has possession of that disc gets a chance to play it out. And we've seen games really turn with whether or not a team can manage those things. Talking with the San Diego Super Bloom coaches, they were talking about how they try to communicate that to their players, some fun play calls. And today we have an all-female and non-binary observing crew with us here.
And this is something the WL has committed itself to doing. In the 3rd year of doing this, this has been the same goal that has been reached for the league. And more importantly, because we're going to talk about it later, all-female and non-binary announcing crew as well. This goes to the mission and values of the WL, and more importantly, it gets to showcase what is so important and so critical to the WL, which is visibility. That's why you are watching at home, because you are here to watch these excellent athletes put on a show for the next hour and a half.
Absolutely, and that commitment to commentating is one of the reasons that I am here with you. The WL giving me one of my first reps in the booth, and having grown from there and being able to call games is an absolute privilege to continue to be part of this league. Excellent. So you're going to
So what we're seeing here is Super Boom will be receiving on what is going to be what we call the downwind side. If you can see the flag in the background, that wind is moving from the screen from our left to your right. What that means is that for San Diego Super Boom, they're going to start with the wind in their favor. This game is going to come down to who can score in the upwind direction. Again, you see the flags in the distance. It's been gusty, it's been changing every once in a while, but for the most part, it's been a very clear direction. And so now the question will be, as we talk about this game and we talk about the strategies of it, Kayla Helton and this O-line going to be starting on offense, and you know it's going to be Kayla on that line, and their job is to make sure that they have an emphatic, clean hold to start.
I think the other thing that's going to be a factor is actually the heat. It might benefit San Diego being very warm in sunny San Diego, but it's 80 degrees here, and on that turf, it is quite warm.
And if we are here to talk about the keys of the game, it is going to be that these stars have to shine. Again, the names that we've been saying are the names that we're going to have to say over and over and over again. But let's be clear, it's because it's the energy. Super Bloom thrives on energy. They love it when they're having fun. You can see it when they're enjoying themselves. And when they enjoy themselves, they see Dina Elimelech, they see Kayla Helton, they see their playmakers making plays, and that means they know they can make plays too. Those are the keys to the game for Super Bloom.
Talking with Kristen Pajunas before the game, she said that everything wasn't right in their last home game coming out from TEP, playing with World Games teams, and for Colorado they're going to have a very different tactic because they are going to be here with the home crowd and the home energy, and they can't let that energy get too big. They really need to maintain possession.
Again, if we are to look at Alpenglow's last loss against Utah coming into this, it was really a matter of them not being able to hang on to the disc, giving whatever defense they were playing against an opportunity to get those breaks. If Alpenglow can keep the disc, keep it out of the hands of that very formidable Super Bloom defensive looks. Let's be clear, we're going to see a lot of defensive looks coming out of Super Bloom. That is one of the keys to the game for Super Bloom's defense on how they're able to generate these defensive looks and defensive blocks and breaks. Alpenglow's just going to have to just weather through it.
The fans are getting excited as the players take the field.
And again, no surprise here as we start to look on the line as who we are seeing on this field. Again, we are seeing our stalwarts of our handlers. We are seeing Rebecca Ellis. We're seeing Kelly Iwamoto. We are seeing Dina Elimelech. We are seeing Abrams, who has really come into her own in this season. And I'm excited to watch this group. Again, they are going in the downwind direction in so many ways. This game is so offensively favored. We should see a clean hold.
I don't know if Colorado is going to have anything to say about that. We're going to see Veldman with the pull as we get underway in the second semifinal. Rolls past. Now to
moves the disc.
Kelly Iwamoto looking for an outlet. A backhand force trying to pin them on the sideline. Abrams to Iwamoto. Fakes the big backhand. It's a 7-second stall, but finds Elimelech. Guarded by Veldman. And in traffic, Elimelech throws it away, giving Colorado the first break opportunity. Dixon waits no movement. Already on the other side of the field.
And you can see Alpenglow downfield getting into that vertical stack, the stack that's going to be able to give them the lanes that they need to hit if they want to get this break.
Dixon over to Veldman. Looking for those inside lanes, just not finding it as two players slide in that reset space.
And looks like there was a foul call. And again, you're going to see the players utilizing hand signals to be able to tell us what's happening on the field. When you see players putting their arms across each other, that typically means a foul call. We'll see the replay right here.
It looks a little bit to me like a slide happening. Maybe the cleat's not getting quite as much traction in that.
But either way, the observers are coming in, resolving this call. It looks like the disc is going to stay with Alpenglow. And now the pre-stall or check movement is what we're seeing, which is where players are allowed to move without penalty for the mark or the stall.
One turn apiece, giving the disc back to Superbloom, who started on offense. Schultz to Elimelech, to Ellis.
It's getting really crowded in that open side space.
Floats up and over, in and out of the hand of Kayla Helton. Blaise Sevier getting in the way, players discussing that as both were going up for the disc.
I mean, when that disc went up, I was thinking, okay, this is just a Hail Mary, we're just trying to get over. But now the question is this a clean D or not?
Looking from that angle, Sevier got up for that disc, touching it before Helton, but this is something that the players and observer are going to discuss. It looks like it's going to there. It was ruled as a foul.
And again, you're seeing the observers also helping us tell us what's happening on the field. When you see the observers gesturing to their shoulders, it means the call is coming to them. And then when you see them signal after, they're telling you what the call actually is.
Yeah, and also it's worth saying that observers are doing this without the benefit of slow-mo replay.
Well, surprise, surprise, what is the call?
It is, as per usual, Helton to Elimelech for the score, breaking the mark after some high-flying play in our first point.
I mean, again, both teams are looking to strike early. They're looking to strike hard. This was a messy point, let's call that. One turnover each, but in the end, it's the two stars that we were expecting to see. It is Kayla Helton finding Dina Elimelech just with a round throw, easy catch for Elimelech to be able to come down with. And now a hold, and now San Diego's chance to disrupt Colorado's offense.
Disruption is usually the name of the game, and one of the players I'm going to be looking to do that is Kristen Pajunas.
That's the name we constantly hear when we talk about this D-line, but again, the only way Pajunas is successful is that every other player does their job. They do a lot of junk looks. We're going to see a couple of them come in this game. They may start here in this person, but expect to see a lot of junky looks.
Pole landing out of bounds, so Nelson is going to put it in almost at half field. Nelson and Pesh in the backfield for Colorado. And like Slap was saying, there's a wall in the front.
And we're going to see a lot of this sag coming from San Diego, but to be clear, it's going to be largely just for a number of passes, and then they'll tighten back up.
Ito faking the big backhand, but elects to reset to Nelson. Upfield to McLaughlin.
Ito's twin, one would call.
Yeah, both playing for Shame, the mixed team out of Colorado who won the national championship last year, wearing numbers 4 and 14. They joke about being each other's doppelgangers.
High release.
Nelson pivots, finds Pesh, breaking all the way around, intended for Ito, but sliding to the turf, giving Superbloom a break opportunity, and they are already in motion. Ava Hanna with the disc.
And this is what Superbloom wants. They want to be able to pick up the disc and move. A little miscue there.
Ari Nelson over to pick up.
Both teams struggling to get that wide connection piece going upfield, intended for Thorpe, and corralled for the first Colorado score.
That is an emphatic score from Thorpe. And again, the type of statement that Alpenville needs to make. It doesn't have to be clean, but it's got to be emphatic.
That's an Alpenville score. We're all tied up at 1.
I'm hoping we're going to get to see that replay, because that was just a quick understanding between two experienced players. Disc was picked up, Thorpe understood, I have to just go. Look, it's before even the disc has been picked up.
It looked like it was originally intended for Pesh in the traditional upline space, but Thorpe said, absolutely not. This whole end zone is mine, and extends for that score.
And I got to tell you, Thorpe knows where the camera is, okay? This is their hometown, but this is a team that understands that they are here to play and defeat a very formidable Superbloom team. And to do it, they're going to have to use their legs, and they're going to have to make plays to keep that possession.
We've got a lot of game ahead of us, but it's been all holds, even though there's been turns in each of the previous points. Veldman pulling upwind. Stopping the roll is Helton, but Iwamoto picks up. McIntyre. Jade McLaughlin, run through D on Kayla Helton. Veldman finding Dixon for the easy first set upfield. They're on a tear, giving and going up the field.
Just have to slow down now.
We said the game was possession, 5 yards outside the end zone. Resetting to Dixon. Finding the wide space, and it's bookends for McLaughlin.
What a nice, patient end zone. We started on the trap side of the field, and it's just easy around throws till you find the target that you're really looking for. This is a great start for Alpenbow. This is how our coaches wanted to write it up. It looks very good. And you can just see that D replay, and now just again, it's just as a rounds. It's so hard to take away.
That was an assist by Robin Fassett Carman, who when filling out the thing said her name was Fastest Carman and joked about that, but she is really all over in the reset space. And Jade McLaughlin with her first, but I'm sure not only, goal.
Again, a bookend as well. Let's be clear. This entire thing started with McLaughlin getting the D on Hilton and then allowing the Alpenbow offense to set itself up and then run their end zone set and then get it an easy goal on the break side.
And a break for Colorado, giving them now the downwind. Veldman back on the line to pull.
And we talk a lot about this in Ultimate Frisbee a lot, which is how the wind in and of itself can lead to your breaks. The wind in many ways is the eighth defender. And in this instance now, Super Bloom is having to basically play a lot of the same players, but now they're moving in a direction that the wind is moving against them. It means the throws are going to be harder. It means you're going to have to play a little bit more compressed.
Huge pull from Veldman, trickles out of bounds as Iwamoto brings it up to the brick mark. The starting point. A slightly different offensive line now. Iwamoto.
And it looks like there was some sort of pick call and then a retracted call, and you can see what's happening in the confusion of the players' faces right now. It looks like the players touched or bumped each other in the game. We typically are not asking for players to do that, and you can call what's called a pick. A very common thing that you see in basketball as well. It looks like right now the discussion really is whether they were close enough, because one of the things that is required in the rule set is that if you are going to be making this call, you do need to be within about 2 yards of each other. And it's very difficult sometimes for players to assess amongst themselves, hey, am I within that distance or not?
And did I stay within that distance, or did I let it get a little bit bigger as we started running? As San Diego starts running again, Schiltz looking for a reset, finding Helton upfield. Using that far sideline, Pajunas shoots all the way across the field in the back end zone. Elimelech bids, and the crowd groans as it's out of the hands of Elimelech, giving Colorado a break chance, what would be a back-breaking downwind break against San Diego Super Bloom.
And again, this is where Super Bloom is both its strength and kryptonite as well, where we could see just working up the field, we are leaking sometimes for eyes on Elimelech downfield.
Tight person defending from San Diego. Elimelech guarding Veldman.
Unfortunate drop for Alpenbow. That was their break opportunity, and now Super Bloom with the ability to get that all-important upwind hold. And they do.
Helton to Abby Schiltz for the Super Bloom. Hold, 2-all.
Colorado's got to be kicking themselves because that was their chance to get that double break. And it was just an unfortunate drop. But credit San Diego picking the disc up, understanding, let's move. And again, Kayla Helton, smart as always, says, hey, there's the end zone, I'll find you.
San Diego is also a team that thrives on tight defense. This was the shot. If Dina Elimelech had caught that, this crowd would have levitated. But that drop by Bristol Lavoie gives a short field to San Diego.
And you can see again, Helton really just trying to be able to navigate, but let's be aware that Helton has been playing with a thumb injury for a lot of this season. You can see the taped up thumb in some of these shots.
Alex, stand by on that pole for Super Blue.
A very uncomfortable injury, but I doubt it is one that Kayla will let us know if she's feeling it or not.
And we can now already see Super Bloom coming in with these junk looks. This is one of their zone looks where they've been very successful.
Lexa Stambaugh getting the D. Back to Rebecca Ellis. Amanda Rutland on that sideline.
Nice break.
Back to Stambaugh. Getting a little bit separated from the cutters. Darting upline, Stambaugh on the pylon. Finds Ellis.
May have been that it was a whistle called actually before the score. An interesting choice here by Super Bloom. Again, one of the other aspects of our rule set is that you can call a timeout from that sideline. If you are hearing that whistle sound, that's actually the coach calling that timeout.
Rutland and Stambaugh working, and they hit Ellis, but they're gonna have to do it again because that timeout called by coaches right on the doorstep.
You can see the players when it's taken out of their hands, how they feel.
Chrome, you're going to be one, and you're going to come hard across right away. Kayla, you're two, and the play's looking for Kayla. So if you don't get it, you're going to the back corner. Foster your first stop, okay?
I'm going to be 5. Okay, 4. Okay, score. Hey, boom on 2. 1, 2, boom.
And in many ways, coaches really are calling these timeouts to just sort of calm their players down, set them into the systems that they're looking and will believe that they can get the most success out of. What we're seeing is the play call coming for, and if we have the advantage of hearing it, they're looking for Kayla.
It's not a bad call.
It's true, it's true. And that said, you can see why that call had to be made in some ways because it was trapped on that sideline. It's a tough area, especially understanding that you're going downwind. It's deceptive, but actually the downwind end zones are actually harder to hit than some of these upwind ones because the wind actually presses and compresses the disc down.
I know that you know that, Manisha, because when I was coaching Astra against you last year, you always took the downwind sideline to try to get that advantage. Kayla Helton does not convert that one as they come back into play. Colorado gets the disc back.
And this is going to be a question about whether or not that timeout call came back to hurt them. We only get 2 per half. But there's some sort of stoppage happening right now, and again, most of the time it's because there's some sort of pick call on the field. And right now, Abby Thorpe holding the disc. Pre-stall is going to be used, and that pre-stall again is allowing the remaining players on the field to be able to move. The thrower, the person with this disc, is usually not allowed, not usually, they are not allowed to move until the end of what we call this pre-checking.
And we're back, Colorado with the disc.
And what's so interesting is now the holds have to be on the upwind side.
Sevier now has the disc for Colorado on the near sideline, looking for a reset, trying to go wide. No one in the area. A stall being called, it looks like by McIntyre. At this point would only change where the disc comes back.
Correct, and that's what you're seeing down at the bottom right of your screen. If the stall is called and the throw is made after that stall call, the disc actually has to start in the space where the stall is called rather than where the throw landed.
Stall call was upheld by the observer. Julia McIntyre on the hard forcing the turnover just over to Super
You knew this game would be tight. It's really back and forth.
Over to pick up.
And this is the first quarter now coming to a close. These possessions are going to add up now.
Helton shooting for Schiltz. Schiltz cements the break and brings San Diego their lead.
And we have 3 goals or 3 points for Super Bowl, 3 assists for Helton already. And a minute 25 now left here in this first quarter. Now Super Bloom looking to disrupt this Alpenglow offense to come out of this quarter with these breaks.
Sevier may be trying to save possession, but this is the second goal in a row for San Diego that was Helton to Schiltz. Schiltz coming off a huge weekend for UC San Diego at D1 College Nationals and doesn't even take a pause before taking the field at championship weekend.
I mean, these players are so impressive, right? Like, they are excelling at every aspect of the sport. But this, in my opinion, the pinnacle, as we are at the Pinnacle Complex here in Colorado, this is the chance for them to truly shine. And really, again, I want to emphasize, get this monkey off of Super Bloom's back. They have been in these games. They have not found the promised land just yet.
Pesh upfield for Dietrich. Shigley shooting crossfield. Defenders jump at it, but all alone in the end zone is Levin.
And what an efficient point for Alpenglow here, because if you're looking at this clock downfield, a minute 3 is still on the clock. That was really only 27 seconds for Alpenglow to tie this game up and utilize this opportunity now to maybe come out of this quarter ahead.
And that was also the first clean hold we've seen in this game. No turnovers for Colorado. Shigley finding that wide space. Perfect.
And we've talked about at the top of the game. Alpenglow has to play clean. But now the question is, can Alpenglow get the break? You're looking at this line for Super Bloom. It's those heavy hitters on the left of our screen that's going to be showing up. But more importantly, Alpenglow looking at the clock, a minute and 3, knowing that this quarter will end on possession, not on the clock.
Last minute of play in the first quarter.
As time trickles down, San Diego dishing. Ellis and Iwamoto, college teammates, continuing to go every other. Finding Helton, looking to the break side. Abrams with the big fake. Iwamoto tries to dive to save possession, but gives it back to Colorado with 30 seconds on the clock. McLaughlin, high release backhand up to Veldman, into space, running it down.
What a great break opportunity and execution by Alpenglow. Patience, and then finding the isolation look downfield, and then you can see holding, teeing up that throw, and perfectly landing into a break.
Slightly too far from Iwamoto, but Colorado breaks back, putting a leading pass into that difficult space for Lavoie.
And it hung just a second, making it feel like Super Bloom could have come down with that D, but just hung perfectly. Again, we are playing at altitude. We are playing where that disc is gonna hang, and that was upwind, and so you could see why it sat there. But great aggressive movement by number 2, moving up and just getting that disc and putting nothing to chance.
Yeah, a break for Colorado, 2 breaks for Colorado, 1 for San Diego. So Colorado up in this game where they started on defense. And who is it but Rory Veldman again with the pull and the short time rolling.
And now if you're Colorado, the thing that you're looking to do is to make sure that San Diego doesn't score. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but you just want to make sure they don't score.
And more of a sag or a junk set, forcing San Diego back and forth. The horn has gone off. This possession will end the first quarter, finding Elimelech upfield to Hannah.
And this is where players sometimes play too fast, and you have to slow it down. Because there's no longer a clock, all you really have to do is find the right look, not the quickest look.
Ellis and Iwamoto looking to each other, leading pass towards the sideline, gathered by Pajunas.
And there's a question about a stall. And so this will decide either this quarter has ended if the observer rules that there is in fact a stall, or the disc will stay where we see it. Players anxiously waiting to see if an observer is going to make a call on this play right now.
And it may feel fast because sometimes player counting is very fast on that 7-second stall.
Especially as we get to these like high stress possessions where again, Alpenglow's very singular goal.
We have a contested stall, possession staying with Super Bloom, coming in on 5.
Or stall contest. Ellis now finding Helton. Pajunas dropping the throw from Helton 5 yards outside the end zone, giving the mini break to Colorado by not completing that score. And Colorado leads 4-3 over San Diego Super Bloom.
This was exactly the type of game we wanted to see in this first quarter. What an exciting first quarter. We're going to be back at you very soon, folks. Don't go away.
Celebrates and honors the journey of a local frisbee player who unfortunately died without access to the LGBT.
Welcome back to Western Ultimate League's presentation of semifinals. Discraft is the presenting sponsor and official disc of the WL. Visit discraft.com to purchase your favorite disc today.
And we are about to see the second quarter of a great matchup, and this is exactly what the billing was for. We wanted to see two powerhouse teams go back and forth. We wanted to see these changes of possessions. We wanted to see who could strike first. And so far, Alpenville has gotten the upper hand, but these are 4 quarters of Ultimate that we play here. And just because you win the first doesn't necessarily mean you win the second.
There is nothing guaranteed when you get to this point of the season.
And these are two teams that are well coached, two teams that are coming into this with a game plan. And right now the question is who is going to continue to execute on their game plan. In these second quarters, what we're going to see now is Super Bloom is going to start on defense, going in the downwind direction. Alpenglow is going to be starting on offense, which is a great opportunity for Alpenglow to try and extend this lead, take this different type of double break coming between the quarters.
Players figuring out where they're supposed to be. Shigley and Pesh, both part of the handler corps for Colorado, Alpenglow. And we're seeing who else on the field on defense this time but Kayla Helton. My guess is she'll take a lot of points.
Well, I mean, this is what Super Bloom knows how to use its players. It is figuring out where and how to put pressure and when to ratchet. You are going to see these like very aggressive line calls coming from the coaches at Super Bloom, particularly in critical moments of the game. And this, in many ways, is a critical moment because you don't want to give Alpenglow that 2-break lead. And these discs have been sailing out of bounds, so what we're seeing is the discus has to be centered. It starts from a dead disc. You always have to think, is this deliberate? Or is it just because the wind is pushing the disc?
It swirls in stadiums sometimes as we have a big building on one side of the field and you can see the beautiful Colorado road and then mountains beyond that as Colorado gets into motion. Thorpe resetting to Nelson.
And we're seeing this very junky look, really it's kind of a zony almost look coming from Super Bloom, but Alpenville doing a very nice job of finding the holes.
Pesh finding Thorpe. Through the wall to Shigley, faking and moving the defenders. Looking for Pesh on the outside, but sliding into that space.
Was that a catch?
Was Jade McLaughlin with the score.
But no, it's a turn. As we see this replay, it looks like between the two players, and in fairness, I appreciate that these players are trying to protect themselves, the disc is dropped.
Yeah, under the elbow there for McLaughlin, behind Pesh.
And now it's just a question of positioning for players. I think a pick was called as while we were looking at that replay. And again, when a pick is called, what we're going to see is this pre-check movement in which the person holding the disc is going to get to hold onto the disc. The players around them are going to move.
Iwamoto picking up the disc and sending it now to Helton, who's going to pick it up right on the pylon where the turn happened originally.
Because while we were away, Kayla knows what to do, and Helton picks up the disc immediately.
She doesn't hesitate.
No, and this is the strength that is Helton in this game and in this sport, is just the aggressiveness and, more importantly, just the savviness to understand we got to get this disc moving. You don't want that D to set, and you need to get it off the line.
Relentless is the word that I would use. Walters slipping on the reception, back to Iwamoto. On their own end zone line, 80 yards to go. Finds Helton upfield through a little bit of traffic. Flat marks from Colorado, trying to force the disc wide.
And a smart defensive look, but there's the disc.
Helton to Elimelech in pursuit, laying out and catches in a trademark Elimelech dive for the score and break for San Diego to tie it.
This is the type of Sports Center highlight plays that Elimelech is known for. I don't understand Elimelech is not on Sports Center every night of the week. This disc hangs, Elimelech runs for it, lays out, times this perfectly as we look at this replay. That disc is in the air, and there is no doubt in your mind, in my mind, the disc was going to get caught.
Flawless performance. They had gone back and forth. Helton sees a hole and finds her teammate.
I mean, every time you look at this replay, it just gets more impressive. And this is just two players understanding their strengths, understanding how they can utilize both the wind and their speed, and just the willpower of these two. This just started trapped on the sideline.
And we're starting again. San Diego on defense. Poaching in the lanes, trying to find space. Shigley through traffic for Colorado. Losing yards is Pesh.
And in so many ways, you almost have to breathe now. You have to breathe. If you're Alpenblow, you just have to say, hey, great job. We're going to be patient now.
Thorpe upfield to Veldman, aware of the line. Cross field to the other corner. Received outside, not quite a score, but now it is!
What a visionary throw from Alpenblow, just to open that field up. He just went over the top and just said, hey, what you can do, so can we. It may not be how Elimelech catches the disc, but that was a visionary throw, and then just nice, patient offense to get the quick, easy score.
Feldman all the way across the field to Levin. Quick follow up to Maddie Boyd, and that is a clean hold for Colorado.
And now we're seeing this downwind wind really helping both teams. Both teams just opening it up here in the second quarter. It's almost like a boxing match. The first couple rounds, it's just tentative, it's tight, and now you really start to see the punches getting thrown. This is the game I wanted to see. I wanted to see two teams just opening this field up.
And we're seeing a new puller now for Colorado. Veldman on the sideline. Fassett Carmen with the pull.
And again, this wind, you can see why it's landing sort of about the half-field mark. It is picking up, and it's creating a little difficulty trying to move in this direction that is what right now is behind what you're seeing on the screen.
Abrams now with the disc for San Diego to Ellis.
And its own little junky look coming out of Alpenblow.
Pajunas getting it on the far break side, back to the middle. Elimelech, 10 yards outside the end zone. Resets to Iwamoto, almost behind Helton, but gathered back. Ellis leads Helton for the give-go, and a quick, calm, cool, and collected San Diego score.
We're going to keep saying this, and I didn't even know this was going to happen, but this is now 5 points for Super Bloom, and Helton has either assisted or caught the goal on all of them. 4 assists, 1 goal already for Helton, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter.
She has certainly put in a lot of work for this team, but so many passes for Super Bloom, trying to get past that Colorado defense. Almost every player on the field touching the disc to get through that defense.
And that is what Super Bloom needs. Again, I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, yes, this is about talking about Kayla Helton. Yes, this is talking about Dina Elimelech. But you need all of those 7 players in order to make this Super Bloom offense work.
San Diego on defense with the pull. Falls to the turf.
And now it looks like we're starting in person for Super Bloom.
Break off the bat from Shigley to Nelson. Boyd holds the disc. Levin sliding.
That's one way to set him up.
Boyd finding Thorpe. Nelson.
Crossfield again.
Nelson to Levin, the break mark flick to the opposite side of the end zone. A clean score. That's 3 clean scores in a row with fewer turnovers than we've seen all game. Both teams starting to settle in, but really that break is what broke it open for me.
It's such a beautiful throw, and again, just what vision to see it and understand the placement of it and make it so that there's truly no one around Levin to be able to make that goal. And right now, let's talk about Levin for a second. I know right now we're looking at Nelson, but Levin with 2 goals and 1 assist, also only not even halfway through the second quarter.
Colorado leads 6-5. Coach Joe Durst with the thumbs up. As Veldman pulls, fielded well by Ellis. Finding Pajunas. Running out of this vertical stack. Elimelech unleashing. Ava Hanna diving.
So close. Ava Hanna, just a rising star in this game. A little unusual to see Hanna downfield right now, but so close with that grab.
One of the things that Colorado does well is force players out of the place that they like to play in, creating a little chaos as they go upfield. Blaise Sevier with the disc.
Now, we can hear that whistle, and that whistle is that timeout call. Again, we are still in the second quarter. Colorado with both of their timeouts available. You could hear that stall getting, you could feel that stall getting high. Nice call by the Colorado coaching staff to say, hey, you know what? Let's just take a break. This is a break chance for us. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Sevier making the completion to Dixon, but I wasn't 100% sure that was going to happen, so coaching staff doing a good job. In talking with Joe Durst, you can hear him calling the line there, asking what in this semi-pro format when there's so little time between points, if you're calling names every time, how do you do it? And he had a whole formula. He was all sorts of ready to talk about that.
And the nice thing also about these timeouts is that we get to see coaches put in different players as well. So what you're seeing right now is actually a lot of their offensive-oriented players. Again, you're seeing Nelson here coming in, knowing that this is a break chance, knowing that you have to go up wind. It's a smart call.
Billets.
And I said the 2 B and S. Okay,
And I'll be,
I mean,
I'll be ready to peel off the back.
I'm gonna be on top.
You're okay.
I know. I'm gonna look.
Slap
And it's
Glory
so
on
fun
top
to
of
watch
there.
players
If it's
self-direct
high stall, I'm just
and
gonna
also
put it in.
Yeah, it's a great line.
direct each other.
And that's what you need players to do in situations like this, in high-pressure games. You need them to be on-field leaders to keep making decisions. They're set up for if San Diego goes person or if San Diego goes zone. And if I know the San Diego coaches, it might be something a little bit more tricky, especially as Colorado is stuck on the sideline.
Yeah, again, if you can't see the wind right now, but this is truly the most trapped one could be. You are sort of in this downfield area where the wind is actually coming directly towards you, but a nice reset to get that off the line.
Nelson finds Veldman on the opposite sideline. Veldman unleashes a backhand floating, and Dina Elimelech says no.
I understand the look, but you have to understand who's patrolling down there. Again, San Diego's starting this point on offense. So this is what they need to get a hold and tie this game back up at 6s.
They're hearing calls of away, maybe a forced middle from Colorado, but Iwamoto doesn't care, finding an unguarded Pajunas in the end zone, and San Diego scores!
How tides quickly change in this game. This was Colorado's opportunity to get a break, and we just watched San Diego Superblue march this field downfield and just take back the clean hold. Again, starting with this turnover, it was a great effort by Ava Hanna. Then downfield here, Alpenglow with what I would describe as probably a bad decision to throw it into that end zone, and then just patient but decisive throw by Iwamoto to find Pajunas.
The disc flew so long, sitting for enough time to let Pajunas run into space and make what is a very difficult angle look easy.
And this is a team, again, that thrives off this energy, right? You can see it already on the sideline. They need these playmakers to make them feel loose and, more importantly, play well.
It is 6-6. Each team has used one of their timeouts, and just over 5 minutes remain in the second quarter as Colorado tries to have a clean offensive possession. Thorpe to McLaughlin. Nelson fires a flick deep. It's got a lot of angle on it, and Dietrich cannot track it down.
And again, I see these teams wanting to look and strike towards the end zone, but there was an open player. Justin Nelson's left.
Samantha Wool finding Natasha Wan. Some different names on the field for San Diego, trying to lean into their depths. Stamball back to Wool. Wool also a member of that San Diego National Championship College D1 team. Natasha Wan finds Stamba, those three players churning.
And there's that second timeout call. I was almost waiting for it, and that's why I didn't say anything. You are right. Superbloom does a nice job of understanding how to rest their stars and utilizing the depth of their team to be able to give those reps. And as long as you can move the disc, then you get the opportunity to call this timeout and get the break about 25 yards out.
Final timeout of the first half.
Passa!
Passa!
Crypto!
Buffy! Here we go, Blue! Let's go. Great up. D-Cost.
Carla Mosa.
Okay.
Moska is called his line.
Vendetta, you're one. Decoy break side and deep.
Colorado Alpenglow would like to thank Jackson Photo, the official photographer of Colorado Alpenglow Ultimate.
No one after break side. So we'll have
The Western Ultimate League would also like to thank Ulti Photos for their coverage of the 2024 Western Ultimate League Championship Weekend.
That would be...
Ulti Photos is the premier provider of ultimate photography in the U.S. and Canada. Follow at Ulti Photos on social media. Head over to ultiphotos.com.
Brand new group of 7 that have come on, and this is in many ways their top O-line.
Yeah, they seem very comfortable with play calls, running different routes, and that's comfortability with coaching. Carlo Mosca having coached many of these players for the last decade.
Certainly familiarity matters, but more importantly, it's just hard to match up against these three on the left side of your screen. These matchups are just difficult.
Iwamoto to Helton, and Helton throws too far.
Was that Helton's first turnover?
I can't remember another one, but it looks like a foul call on the throw.
And it was interesting because I couldn't quite tell who Helton was throwing to, and it looks like the call is that there may have been some contact on that throw. Still a little difficult and kind of tailed away. And right now the question will come down to the observer making a ruling on this. Helton is saying on the release, what we saw at the replay at the tail end, was there contact that affected that throw or not?
So that's how I felt it? Is that it had already released? Okay, we're going to leave this as we have to call. We're going to come back.
Looking at the replay right here. It's hard to say whether or not there was or wasn't contact.
That ball is contested by
It's a receiver.
I can't disagree with anything that you said, Manisha.
Katie, that's usually how I like to make life work the best.
Pajunas throws to McLaughlin instead of to Schultz. Feldman picks up, and Colorado's off to the races.
And these are where these timeouts can hurt. Because if Alpenville is able to score this point, that O-line is going to have to stay back out there. You see a deep receiver.
To Veldman, Veldman going deep. It's Daniels with the reception in the end zone, and it is a break for Colorado.
Possession, possession, possession. You're gonna find these isolated looks downfield. You just gotta be patient. And now we're looking at sort of this replay of how this point started, which started with this look downfield, then started with this D here, or finished with this D, and then the cherry on top, the break throw and the score.
Feldman to Daniels.
And now San Diego down with no timeouts left. And if you are looking at that line for San Diego, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces from the last point. Veldman now, by the way, 2 assists so far in this game.
Elton, Elimelech, Ellis, McIntyre, Iwamoto, Abrams.
I'm pretty sure this is the line we started with the first point.
Amy Halverson on the pole for Alpenville.
Pole lands just past midfield. Cutter is already in motion as Iwamoto picks up. Big backhand throw. Pajunas in pursuit, and too far for the one throw score, giving the disc immediately to Colorado.
I mean, I'm impressed that Pajunas was able to get open. I know it was a little far, but again, that's the nature of that downwind throw. It's going to push a little bit longer. And Katie, I think you made that point earlier. It's got to go higher so it sits longer. In that instance, oh, there's a foul call, so it might come back as well. Players are discussing right now. It looks like the observer is upholding the foul call. That disc will stay then with.
We have a contest foul.
Alicia Dixon, an excellent defender there. With the wide mark, trying to limit Iwamoto's throwing. The switch to try to limit San Diego, but finds an outlet upfield to McIntyre. Back to Ellis. A vertical.
Ellis is looking downfield. You can see it.
San Diego getting a little bit hasty, giving Colorado the disc. Halverson picking up. And in and out of Kleinkopf's hands.
There's the score.
Ellis to Abrams for the San Diego hold.
If you are Alpenblow, you are kicking yourself. That was a minute 28 left on the clock. You could have really ran this up. No matter. 1:28 still left on this clock. Colorado on offense, really much still in the driver's seat of this first half. And we're just looking at the turnover right here. It just was slightly behind, and then just easy, quick motion between these handlers for Super Bowl.
Shots that they were hitting earlier in the game, maybe a little bit of fatigue, maybe a little bit of not rising to the moment. Finally the score, and 7-7 apiece. Just under a minute and a half left to play in the first half. We knew that this game was going to be a grind between two great teams, but we're going to have to see who really breaks first.
I mean, we've seen the breaks, but sustaining those breaks is really the question at this point. These teams know how to punch back. They are comfortable with the idea that they can be up, they can be down, and they're going to claw their way back into games. But right now, again, I'm Alpenblow. I'm focused on this possession. I'm saying I want a clean hold. I want to end this quarter and go into this half with the lead.
Nelson looking deep, but Pajunas is patrolling the backspace, forcing it backwards to Pesh instead.
And Superbloom had a bit of a miscue on defense.
Thorpe was being guarded by Helton and now switched. Thorpe loose in the deep space.
Looking
And
downfield.
Pesh from the handler space releases unguarded and catches the Colorado score.
You almost feel like they scored too quickly. But still, smart movement, and what ended up happening there, it started with the Helton layout that resulted in Helton being behind the play. Helton tried to call a switch, and what ended up happening is that in the result of the switch, and you see that layout right here, there was just someone unguarded, and Alpenblow finding that player.
We saw Sarah Pesh lose yards on the reset, and then from that space said, I'm not going to play into the hands of this defense anymore, and that kind of awareness about how that defense works and how to break it, really great work by Sarah Pesh.
It's just smart play, you know? I mean, that's what you need out of your players if you're Alpenblow. Understanding how to be able to, not say manipulate, but take advantage of the situation. When you find the matchup or when you realize that they don't know who they're supposed to pick up, and just saying, I'm going to strike downfield, one of my teammates will get the
45 seconds on the clock. Colorado pulling, fielded by Ellis to Iwamoto. Grinding through unders, Schultz to Pajunas. Up and over the top to Ellis.
Nice hang. And this is nice, patient offense by Superbloom. The clock is your friend here.
Abrams shooting towards the end zone for Schultz, and the score leaving 9 seconds on the clock, but notching a score for San Diego as we are tied at 8 apiece.
You know, Katie, you and I are both coaches, and I would be yelling at my team right now. You could have waited the 9 seconds.
Abrams does a good job to find Schultz.
And it was a nice IO. You can see Abrams shooting with this backhand around, realizing that would be too hard of a window, and then utilizing this inside-out throw, which controls the edge, and then is able to hit Schultz right in the gut, which is the type of throw you're going to need in this downwind space. So now the question comes down to Colorado, with really all the time in the world. Again, the clock doesn't matter now. Their job is just to score. Can they end this quarter ahead, or will this quarter end on an 8-8 tie?
Colorado started the second quarter on offense. If they can put this in, it would give them what we would call a mini break, an extra offensive possession in a point, in a quarter.
And interesting right now, again, we are in elevation. You are seeing Kayla Hilton using one of these oxygen cans to be able to just reset and regroup and get some oxygen back. But Colorado taking a timeout, actually, it's one of the reasons we're actually still waiting to start this point. And again, because the time doesn't matter. You're not going to call the timeout at 9 seconds. You can't call a timeout after the clock ends. So take your timeout now, talk to your team, say, hey, listen, this is just about score. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it takes 45 passes. If you do it in 5, fine. But let's score this. Nice pull.
Landing out of bounds. Nelson's going to bring it to the brick mark, and defense is going to be set on their matchups.
And Super Bloom coming into this very saggy look right now. Sitting off of the handlers.
The horn blows. This possession will end the first half. Nelson unleashes, and Elimelech gets a huge block to deny. Then the score gives Super Bloom a tie ball game going into the second half.
I mean, I think it even faked out the camera. This was supposed to be a deep look, but Elimelech just putting her hands into the air, taking away what could have been a goal for Thorpe's. I don't know if that would have worked out in the end, but great awareness by Elimelech to just disrupt that offense and take away, honestly, a great opportunity for Alpenglow to get ahead in this game. And this, to me, is going to be the story for this first half. Alpenglow's missed opportunities to try and extend the lead in this game.
2 hands on that block.
That's what we tell our players, right?
We've seen a textbook layout by Elimelech, and we have seen a textbook block, anticipating that flow and motion. And one of the things I desperately love about this game is that it has felt back and forth, but it almost feels like we have a clean slate going into the second half. It could really be anyone's game.
And that is the exciting thing about playing on a clock and playing with these quarters, is that as we look at these ebbs and flows of the game, you are very correct, Katie, that in so many ways it doesn't matter.
And we are going to talk with Colorado Alpenglow coach Stephanie Schlosser exactly about that. Stephanie, how did that first half feel for you?
Felt great. Weather's good. We got crowds in the stands. We're happy about it.
So, Stephanie, I got to ask you, that last point, you had all the time in the world. We see the wind up and we see the look for Abby Thorpe downfield, and then the D that takes that away. I mean, how does that make your team feel coming into this half? How do you overcome those types of, I'm going to say, missed opportunities right now?
Everything comes down to a choice, and some choices are well executed, really good shots, and sometimes you just got really good D on those really good shots.
And what is your messaging to your team at halftime as you're tied going into the second half?
The first rule of frisbee is to have fun. So find your joy, find your love of the sport, and the rest will follow.
And Stephanie, it's so clear when we watch this Colorado Alpenglow team and see them thrive off the energy of this crowd. Do you think this crowd's going to help you in the second half?
Absolutely.
You're counting on it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks so much for taking some time and chatting with us. We're looking forward to a really good second half.
It has been a high-flying game, but maybe nobody flew higher than Dina Elimelech, being pumped after the block at halftime. More to come in our semifinal coverage from championship weekend.
Don't go away.
Welcome back. It is halftime In the semifinal number 2 at Western Ultimate League Championship weekend, it is all tied up between Colorado and San Diego. The winner of this game will face Utah Wild in the final, and today we are going to be looking at the Defensive Player of the Year nominees.
But before we do that, let's make sure we would like to thank Ultiphotos for their coverage of the 2024 WL Championship weekend. Ultiphotos is the premier provider of ultimate photography in the U.S.
The
and
annual
Canada.
WL Awards honor outstanding players who have made meaningful and noteworthy contributions to the league and their teams. Each nominee exemplifies excellence in their respective roles. The Defensive Player of the Year nominees are players who had the most significant impact on their team's defensive success throughout the season. From Utah Wild, Abby Davis. From Colorado Alpenglow, Alicia Dixon. From Colorado Alpenglow, Blaise Sevier. From Arizona Sidewinder, Cynthia Thomas. From San Diego Superbloom, Dina Alimelik. Abby Davis finished second in the league with 13 blocks while playing O-line the second half of the season and had at least 2 blocks in every game, the only player to do that for the first 6 games of their career. Her teammates gushed about her during her inaugural season, saying, "Davis has the most hold-saving offensive Ds in the league per game, I'm certain of it." Alicia Dixon joined the WL for her inaugural season and recorded 2 blocks per game, tied for the 3rd best in the league. In the last 2 games of the season, she recorded 7 blocks, including 4 in Colorado's championship weekend clinching win over Seattle in Week 7. Her teammates said Dixon is always locked in on defense and brings intensity to every point she plays. Blaise Sevier recorded at least 1 block in every game and finished with 6 blocks for the season. Colorado's defensive efficiency was 11 points higher with Sevier on the field, the best on her team. Her teammates described her as one of the most intimidating defenders they've ever seen. Another simply described her as filthy. Cynthia Thomas recorded a block every 13 defensive possessions, the 2nd best on Arizona. And her awareness and athleticism was most prominently featured on the multiple blocks in deep space. She finished the season with a block rate of 7.4 and 0 receiving errors. Her teammates said, "I don't know how Cynthia gets the block she does. Her closing speed and ability to read the disc are lethal on defense." Dina Alimelik's 15 blocks led the league, and her 7 blocks against Bay Area in Week 6 tied the single-game league record. She has recorded at least 1 block in every game this season. Alimelik is also the WL's career leader in blocks with 46, 8 more than any other player. Please put your hands together for all of our incredible finalists for Defensive Player of the Year. To announce the winner, please welcome our League Commissioner, Megan Andrews.
For your 2024 Western Ultimate League Defensive Player of the Year, Dina Alimelik. Dina ranked first in the league for blocks with 15 and ranked first in blocks per game, averaging 2.5 blocks per game. She has recorded at least 1 block in every game this season and has now recorded at least 1 block in 20 of her 22 career games. In Week 6, Alimelik tied the single-game record for blocks with 7 and won the Player of the Week award in Week 2, recording 2 blocks in addition to setting a single-game record at the time of 373 receiving yards. Her 46 career blocks make her WL's all-time leader, and her teammates describe her as the most important and impactful player for San Diego this season. Congratulations, Dina and San Diego Superbloom.
That was the Defensive Player of
Please
the
put your hands
Year
together once again for the 2024 Western Ultimate League Defensive Player of the Year, Dina Alimelik.
Katie, are you surprised?
I am not, although I do love the poetry of her being number 46 and having 46 career blocks coming into this tournament weekend, although the symmetry is broken because she's certainly gotten at least one huge one in this game already.
Well, if she had known that, we could have told her before the game started. I mean, I love that these awards exist. I love that we get to highlight these incredible players on multiple teams, whether you are here or not. These contributions matter, and these players are the lifeblood in so many ways to these teams, and it's nice to have them honored, but of course, hats off to Ellie Mellick and just the level of play that she has brought to this league and to this team. And this is the level of play that we are going to need to see coming out of Super Bowl if they want to be able to come and take this semifinal win.
And the keys to the game are going to be even more impactful in the second half. Players taking the field. Alpenglow possess the disc some, but what do you think, Manisha?
I mean, again, I know I was maybe perhaps a little harsh to the Colorado Alpenglow coach, but they had opportunities to try and start to pull away. They're gonna need to maintain possession, both on offense, but more critically, where we saw and the area that I think Colorado can improve is once they get the turn, their D-line has to possess. But if you're Super Bloom, your stars have gotten you this far. Helton, 4 assists, 1 goal. Schultz, 3 goals. Ellie Mellick, 2 very important Ds and 2 very important goals. These stars going to have to continue to shine.
And as Veldman takes the steps back for this poll, Colorado starting on defense in the second half. Who will join Utah Wild in the final? These next 2 quarters will tell us.
And in this second half, we're seeing that the teams are going to switch the side that they're beginning on. In this instance, so Super Bloom started on offense in that first quarter, starts again on offense in this third quarter, but turns it over, very similar to the first quarter.
Veldman over to pick up for Alpenglow.
Veldman now with the disc for Colorado. Hitting Dixon in that upline space, unleashes Pajunas, catches, giving the disc back to San Diego.
You know, Pajunas also gets so many Ds, you kind of forget what team Pajunas plays on because she's just in the end zone.
Veldman layout block on Elimelech, high release backhand, unhesitating for the score. It's Emily Grimes on the board for the first time for Colorado, and a break to start the second half.
Veldman now with their 3rd assist of the game. Just a savvy, quick, recognizing that they're just trying to move the disc, pops in front, gets that D, and then pops the disc over the top to a wide open Grimes. And this is that first turnover. It was just a little too far. Evans was not able to bring that in. And then you can see the D by Pajunas. Really, you almost think that she's on offense. And here's that turnover.
Really good anticipation block by Veldman, and immediately going to Grimes for the dagger to San Diego. Rory Veldman, 3 assists, 1 block, and only 1 turnover. Definitely up in the plus part of that plus minus.
And this is what Alpenglow wants coming out of this second half. You want to start hot. You want to start with putting Super Bloom on their heels, and ideally moving the momentum of this game in your favor.
Ellis centering to Iwamoto. Familiar start for San Diego, finding Elimelech upfield, being guarded by McLaughlin. They're going to be teammates in Australia. Ellis, big flick into space, and McLaughlin getting the better of Elimelech.
You almost thought that was going to get caught.
For the sake of a highlight reel, I would want it, but Jade McLaughlin playing excellent defense in this space, tracking the disc and getting up in front of Elimelech. Elimelech tries for that second effort, but it's going to be Colorado's disc, and another break chance for Colorado.
Keep possession.
To Dixon. Manisha willing the possession game for Colorado as they go upfield. Beetle Mork. Bassett Carmen back to Daniels. Finding Dietrich. To McLaughlin.
And you can see them all looking downfield. And then at least, yeah, having the patience.
Floating it, McLaughlin towing just to the inside of the line for another set of bookends for Jade McLaughlin.
We saw this in the first quarter, we're seeing it in the third. The bookends from McLaughlin, starting with the D against Ellie Melik on the far side of the field, and then Alpengo, patience, patience, patience pays off.
A big leading throw there for McLaughlin, very aware of the line. Bassett Carmen with the assist.
And that's 2 for Bassett Carmen now as well.
Giving Colorado their biggest lead of the game.
2 is the biggest lead of the game. And this is how tight this game has been, right? Neither team has really found a groove, found that comfort. This is the first time we are seeing Colorado with multiple breaks in a row. It's been sort of a break, then a hold, then a break, then a hold. And it's been flipping back and forth. But this is where Super Boom is going to have to just kind of dial in now.
Veldman with the layout block again for Colorado, immediately heading for the end zone. Sevier in pursuit, 2 defenders cannot make an impact. Sevier with the kick spike, and this half is break, break, break for Colorado. Up 11-8 over San Diego.
And there was a tentativeness to Super Bloom in this last point. Again, you didn't necessarily see your 3 big stars in that point. They were just looking to kind of small ball it, but Veldman very savvily understanding just to come underneath these throws. These throws are tiny, and as long as you can cut in front, you can get that great layout D.
And the third member of our broadcast crew, Emily Harrell E, is on the sideline, feeling the energy. What are you seeing down there, E?
Well, I can see what I'm seeing on the screen right now, and what I'm seeing is a 3-goal lead.
A 3-goal lead and a bunch of hype from the Colorado sideline and fans. A rolling pull at half field is going to set up this defense. Kleinkopf is going to be trapping on the sideline. Ellis walks it in. Up for Wool, coming from the far side of the field. McLaughlin on the mark.
This is a tough place to be.
7 seconds going out of space, putting one up. McIntyre coming down with it in traffic, finding Helton.
And now we can see the spacing. It was kind of crowded before. Now we see the spacing.
Alpenglow slowly ratcheting up the pressure on Super Bloom with their tight person defense. Ellis now finding Helton, floating into that far space. Helton shooting to the far side. Pajunas waiting as it floats down. It's tipped, but Pajunas has it on the end zone line, flips it, and it is a Super Bloom score, their first score of this second half.
What a improbable set of events. As we watch this replay, Gail Helton with the around. Again, this is just going around. It starts with the bailout throw at a high stall, and then the disc goes around, and Dietrich gets the D. Pajunas just pays attention, and then the high flip, but actually tipped disc to the score from Wool.
E on the sideline, down on the field, feeling the energy. What is it like field side?
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay,
finally
great.
hear
Sorry,
you.
we were having some issues there. Listen, Alpenglow got fired up after the Jade McLaughlin bookends, and they are feeling that momentum and riding it, and we'll see how long it lasts.
But this was a nice hold from Super Bloom. And it didn't have to be pretty, but it had to get done.
San Diego.
Ava Hanna on the hold. This is out of bounds on the hold.
Pull landing out of bounds, so in this instance,
Sorry,
Alpenglow will
Nelson,
start with the
defender,
disc in the
put it
middle
in
of the
play.
field. And we are seeing Super Bloom largely starting in person.
Levin upfield to Ito. Nelson looking into the deep space. Defender falling down. Thorpe elevates for the Alpenglow score.
And it almost felt inevitable, right? That disc was up in the air. Thorpe, great body position, and just had to hold and come down with that disc. Not the easiest catch, but again, let's call it a trust throw.
Nelson putting it up, and Thorpe elevating over Rutland for the clean hold for Colorado. They are now up 12-9 in this third quarter action.
And a nice response from Alpenglow, right? Quick, decisive. Hey, okay, you scored. We will score too. But still plenty of game left in this third quarter. Still 7.5 minutes left to go in this third quarter. San Diego, again, bringing out that all-star line for this all-important hold. Can they be clean? Can they be quick? Is the question.
Colorado, we know, is comfortable coming from behind, but in this case, they'll have to maintain and maybe extend this lead. Huge pull from Veldman, landing in the back of the end zone. Iwamoto finds Ellis. Defense already in possession. A bidding Sevier trying to get it past Pajunas, finding Schiltz.
You can feel the energy and the intensity starting to ramp up now. Both teams understanding the importance of this moment right now.
Iwamoto shooting deep to Pajunas. Sevier aware and plucks it out of the sky. It is upfield, Grimes with the disc. And a cut upfield from Fern Beetle Moorcroft.
Interesting throw choice, but it works.
Feldman read it better, and the receiver
drop.
Cannot rise to the occasion, giving it back, breathing life into San Diego Superbloom. Dina Elimelech doesn't hesitate, going to Kayla Helton deep. There's no one around her. Pajunas
coming for the reset.
Like a train on the tracks, finding the lead, the engine that is San Diego Superbloom. Kayla Helton with that captain R-band is unwilling to give up yet, going the full distance.
Talk about carrying a team on your back. That was a guaranteed goal from Alpenglow, dropped in the end zone. 5 passes later, that is a Superbloom score. You can't, it was right there. And Helton and Pajunas just working so well together. To your point, Katie, no one was even around them. The rest of the team was in the backfield. But if you give Helton that much space in the end zone, it is a goal.
Captain Kayla Helton taking a little bit more oxygen. Husband Goose Helton there, ready on the sideline with the support. But that now it's up to the players on the field. Ava Hanna with the pull out of bounds for San Diego Superbloom, needing a block because this is a timed game and time can get away from them. Nelson centering on the brick mark, marked by Stambaugh, finding Pesh on the near sideline. Wind shifting directions now. Levin finding space Thorpe upfield.
Yeah, this is becoming quite a crosswind at this point.
The focus catch from Maddie Boyd, retains possession. Back to Thorpe. And Levin.
Players just doing a nice job recognizing what the wind is doing to the disc and moving their body into the right position.
Contact upfield slows the motion, but Alpenglow, Thorpe pivoting. As the stall rose, a timeout called by Colorado to retain possession.
Interesting time to call a timeout. You have the momentum, but if the Alpenglow coaches are not seeing what they're looking for, yeah, this is the time to use that timeout. Get your team back in order, re-establish what you're looking for in this end zone set, because yes, it was a little messy, I'll acknowledge.
Akane, Abby, Jade, Slev.
Do we have water, maybe?
Oh my God,
Coach Joe Durst calling the line.
Yeah.
Again, putting in
iconic.
very
Okay. Let's look R1, Abby 2. Okay, from the front. Okay.
Players have clearly been working on end zone sets for a while.
And hang on real quick, it will be bracketed.
Okay.
It will be junky. We are decisive, and we do not have the cutters come all the way into the ambush space.
You're probably open in the middle. Here we go.
Just like Jimmy Eberhard said.
As many as it takes.
Concise talking from Joe Durst, talking about the poaching sets from San Diego, how they're going to break them. And they are singing happy birthday to Coach Thomas Eccles. A very defensive-minded coach for Colorado.
I mean, we heard it from the Alpenglow coaches at half. This is a team that wants to play with joy and have fun.
Connie Kleinkopf coming in with the disc. Thorpe continues on the field after that timeout. Pesh finding Nelson.
It works.
Shigley with the dig, saving possession for Colorado. Intended for Nelson, but Shigley cements the score for Alpenglow.
And in so many ways, this timeout favored Super Bloom. It gave them a chance to set into the defensive look they wanted. They were so close, had many opportunities in this point, and in this instance, it was an overthrow, but falls into the hands of Alpenglow.
The wind as the sun sets seeming to shift directions a little bit more crosswind, but who will adjust to that better? Well, my bet might be on Colorado, who plays in this stadium for all of their home games.
I mean, yes, home field does matter. We've noticed that regardless of what sport you play, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the WL. But that said, to your point, the wind is now shifted. It's no longer an upwind, downwind, it is a crosswind. And knowing the Super Bloom throwers, I think this wind actually favors them.
We're going to see if they can get a hold they so desperately need. Down 3 points to Colorado. Iwamoto and Ellis playing catch before they find Helton. Upfield to Pajunas. Natasha Wan making a cut, fading to the break side. Players inbounds, but a defensive block by Akane Kleinkopf gives Colorado the disc. Daniels on the sideline. They are not waiting a second. Back upfield, finding Dixon in space. Dixon, big throw up. Pajunas in pursuit, but it is Aubrey Dietrich with the break for Colorado. One more nail in the coffin as they march their way towards finals.
It does feel like momentum is in Colorado's favor. We have to acknowledge that. This is the largest lead of the game at this point. And again, these are just momentum shifting moments. This was a D that started here in the end zone, and it was 5-6 passes. This was a break throw to Dixon, then just looking downfield. And where we started with Pajunas throwing the disc downfield, getting scored on here by Dietrich on a break throw.
Dietrich wearing her trademark bow no matter what team she plays for. She always has that as her signature item.
I mean, that's the thing about sports, right? We all have that either idiosyncrasies or superstitions, or whether it's I gotta wear the same hat, I have to wear this particular bow. Athletes are all the same no matter what sport you are playing. Everyone has something that they have to do, must do, need to do, can't afford not to do.
Walters and Wool, a different handler set for Super Bloom, getting upfield to Savinsky. Bile with the reception past a bidding Rory Veldman. Sevier reaching over the top, but foul called by Wool.
And the question will come down to whether Sevier went through Wool before making contact with this disc. As we see this disc go up, Sevier is on the back shoulder, but is that contact with Wool the type of contact that will result in a foul call? Looks like the discussion is happening between the two players right now.
The space before you and be able to do the disc.
Okay. Would you like to hold your foul call? Yeah. Contest or no contest, or come to me?
I would like to come here.
Okay. Observer rolling. It was a foul. Disc is going to come in here.
Choosing to go to the observer, upholding that foul call.
And that's the thing, the players have the opportunity to choose in this game. This is an observed game. These observers are available to be able to insert as needed by players, and players can either choose to decide the game themselves or go to our observer for a call.
Wool using all 7 of those seconds, but can't complete the throw to Helm. Veldman picking up eyes for the end zone, but finds that space across the field instead. Big backhand going up, floating. Savinsky in pursuit. But Emily Grimes with the reception. And it's Lavoie to Sevier. 15-10, Colorado. We started this quarter at 8-8, and Colorado came out of half wanting to make a statement, and a statement they have made.
It's just how fast this changes. We started just 30 seconds ago on the other end zone with Super Bloom truly on the doorstep of a goal, a turnover, and then 4 passes later, another score for Alpha.
Sevier there with the reception.
And Sevier, the one that was involved in that call in the end zone. Going 80 yards the other way.
And for my money, Sevier made an excellent defensive play without creating a lot of body contact. In that case, could have contested, but choosing to go to the official instead. But I know there are folks at home who will say disc doesn't lie, causing the turnover and then getting the score going the other direction.
And that's the fun thing about watching these games at home, is that you're going to get the benefit of these replays. You get the benefit of our perspectives on it or our yammerings about it, depending on what you think. But this is really nice response from Alpenglow in this third quarter.
Starting trapped on the sideline, working it off, and then Schiltz on the sideline again, finds Elimelech upfield.
They're really looking for that end zone.
McIntyre wide for Hannah. Back to McIntyre.
Some confusion, but works out.
Working out of a vertical stack with not many options until they find Iwamoto for the score.
And that was just the handlers. Just remaining confident, understanding the sets, going to what they are very good at with these around throws, and these little throws are going to be the thing that makes Super Bloom regain the confidence that they can get back into this game.
Juan finding Iwamoto. Iwamoto doing work for Super Bloom.
Elevating, really.
Maybe more touches than any other player on that team. Continuing to reset through the very intense and changing pressure that Colorado is putting on them. From a coaching perspective, what adjustments have you seen that have led to this lead from Colorado?
Possession. I mean, it's a word, it's a concept, and it is the lead.
You said that's what you wanted to see from them. You said it was the key to the game. We'll see if they can keep it up with 1 minute left in this third quarter. Pesh with the disc finds McLaughlin.
No, that was Ito.
The doppelgangers get me again, putting it up. The Mac just outside the end zone.
This is just everything going Colorado's way. Everything going Colorado's way.
And Thorpe notches yet another goal, leading the league in scores. She has a nose for the end zone, and Colorado is on top.
That was, in so many ways, exactly the type of play that Super Bloom wanted. They wanted the disc in the air. They wanted to be able to get the D. They get the D, but they don't get the D. And Boyd with her second assist. Thorpe, 3 goals already on this game. Still time left in this third quarter.
43 seconds remain on the clock in the last 2 minutes. The clock stops more often.
It does. In the last 2 minutes of each quarter, the clock will not only stop on the scores, it will also stop on every call. And if the disc lands out of bounds. So yes, there is more opportunities to play in the last 2 minutes of this game. But if I'm Super Bloom, I want a quick score right now. I need a quick score right now.
Veldman pulling to the end zone line. Walters to Iwamoto, now to McIntyre. Out of this horizontal stack, Helton, guarded by Dixon. Big flick going up, intended for Schultz.
Not in.
On the end zone line, Ellis in pursuit, finds McIntyre. Looking for that quick score.
Now you just have to hold it. Now you just have to hold it. Quarter's ended. Now just score.
Possession game now for San Diego. They either score or the quarter is over. Big disc going up. Roommate connection. Kelly Iwamoto for Rebecca Ellis.
I don't think Ellis realized that disc was for her. She's looking around, thinking there's someone behind there, and then realizing, oh no, I have to go get that. A little bit of an awkward landing, let's say that. But I think if they are in fact roommates, Iwamoto's cooking dinner when they get home. And that's how we end this third quarter. Alpenglow up by 4.
The third quarter has ended, about to start the fourth, and we'd like to thank Ulti-Photos for their coverage of the 2024 WUL Championship Weekend. Ulti-Photos is the premier provider of ultimate photography in the U.S. and Canada. Follow at Ulti-Photos on social media and head over to ultiphotos.com to view and purchase their incredible accent shots. That is Rodney Chen. He works so hard to cover these games and gives us absolutely epic coverage of excellent plays.
And it's just been excellent plays throughout this game, Katie. I mean, we are in the fourth quarter right now. Yes, Colorado with a 4-goal lead, but it has been no short of exciting offensive, defensive plays left and right that has gotten us to this moment. And we still have 12 minutes of play, 12 minutes for us to write the story. Is this Super Bloom's year? Can they make it to the final for another year? Or is Colorado, in its first appearance in the postseason, is it their championship to take?
Everything left to play for in this fourth quarter, 12 minutes left.
And the winner of this game will be taking on Utah Wild in tomorrow's final matchup at 2 p.m. local. The loser of this game will be playing in a third-place matchup against the Bay Area Falcons, who did lose to Utah Wild earlier today, 15-13. But if you are watching at home, thank you for being part of the WL. Thank you for watching. We hope that this game has been as entertaining on the screen as it has been for us to watch and give to you today. But I want to see a closer game. I love drama.
I will also say in the first quarter, we had 7 points. In that third quarter, we had 12 total points. Moving very fast in this, a lot cleaner games. Almost a layout D there. McLaughlin now with the disc. Back to Nelson. Calming things down.
And in so many ways, Alpenboe has the benefit of the clock, right? You want, as Alpenboe, to just play steady, consistent offense. Or just go over the top and find a goal.
Levin notches another one on the scoreboard for Colorado, putting them up 17-12. The clean hold coming out of that fourth quarter.
And it was nice. It was nice to see Alpenboe just move quickly, slow down pace, and then finding the right people in the right places. Abby Thorpe just a force in the end zone. Levin, this third goal of the game for her. A nose for the end zone, Katie, as you like to say. But a team now that can, yeah, I think you can say you're feeling it. But Super Bloom, they can make things happen very quickly.
I spent last weekend at D1 college championships, and there were games where I thought, this is over. That's 5 points is too big of a hole to dig out of. And I was proved wrong again and again, because sometimes teams can just make magic happen, but Super Bloom only has 11 minutes to do so if they're going to make a comeback. Starting on offense, Ellis picks up to Helton. Looking for Elimelech deep. Floating.
Sorry, Katie, what were you saying? That was 8 seconds off, maybe 9 seconds off the clock, I think.
A very quick score, Elimelech with the shrug celebration. This was an assured goal as soon as Helton unleashed that. Helton, a really possession-oriented player, and letting Dina Elimelech get steps on you deep is never a good idea.
But you know what's so cool about that replay? Watch right here. You see Helton hold because of the Alpenboe player slightly in the lane, but that hold actually allowed Helton to calibrate that throw even better than had Alpenboe not been in that space. 5 assists for Helton. Helton is saying this game is not done.
If there was a player with fight, Helton is that player. If you were playing fantasy,
I mean, people are playing fantasy actually. For this weekend, they are playing fantasy, and I would venture to guess that I'd like to believe 100% of people put Helton on that fantasy list.
There's many other players making a name for themselves in this semifinal. Nelson, one of them. They have been clinical in moving the disc for Colorado.
And an interesting choice right now for Super Bloom, sort of playing that saggy lane, very comfortable letting Alpenwald just kind of move the disc around and clock, but that disc is down.
Levin tried to hit Veldman and instead hit the turf. Pajunas dives to save possession, floating it upfield for Ava Hanna, looking long. Helm was going deep, but foul called. Maddie Boyd catching the arm there of Hannah as the pre-stall starts and players start moving.
And we are hearing that whistle.
We do have a timeout on the field.
And there may be some confusion, but it definitely, we heard a whistle up here. It looks like the observers are now just looking to confirm when they heard that timeout or if it was in the disc downfield or stays with Ava Hanna. That's the only thing that has to get decided when that timeout is called. Because if the disc is called, if it's called while it's in the air, you have to find the outcome of the play.
Clarity there being provided by Jenna Hammaker. A timeout being signaled for San Diego Super Bloom as they have their first break chance.
And let's if again, you and I are coaches, this is San Diego understanding the importance of this point, calling the timeout because they need to put certain players back in.
Levin in the shadow trying to hit Veldman, but not quite enough on that disc, giving San Diego their golden opportunity as they put their offensive line, who have played a huge amount of points, back on the field.
On this break side. Okay, so we're looking just to get it off the sideline, but if you can get it to crypto, bounce it to that side, and attack prone, that's kind of the look.
Are we 90 even if they're trapping?
To start. But once if it's trapped, then push into it. Yes.
Okay. Hey, right here, right now. Break train and sleeve in. Choo-choo!
Hey, we're 2 on turn.
2 on 2. 1, 2, 2.
On the field, who was on the field for this prior point on defense, staying on the field for offense. Again, you can see Ellis back on the field, Helton back on the field, Ali Melik back on the field, Schiltz on the field, Iwamoto on the field. This is the line that needs to get the break, has to get the break.
Hearing the names Crypto, Fasa, Vendetta, you may be wondering, but San Diego Super Bloom drawing players from the West Coast, which have a rich nicknaming tradition in their college scenes, especially UC San Diego, and those names tend to stick with players even after they leave college.
It's true.
Ellis
looking for that IO.
to Iwamoto. Has several players going deep, but elects to find Pajunas coming across the front. Floats up.
Too far, too far, too far, too far.
And out the back. Helton has a big reach, but she's not that tall. Vendetta turning the disc over, saying the break train is coming, but...
And Pajunas is nicknamed Vendetta. Those names stick.
Now Sevier with the disc on the sideline. Upfield, not really feeling defensive pressure. Now Schiltz on the mark. Dietrich open upfield, elects to find Sevier instead. Dietrich and Dixon. Kayla Helton was poaching upfield in the lane. Now Daniels with the disc. Dietrich finding deep space. Sevier trying to find. Iwamoto creating chaos, but a stall being called. Helton on Sevier.
A discussion as to whether or not the stall will be upheld or not. It may be that Sevier is not contesting, and that's what you see with the hands signaled outward, palms up, is a no contest. I'm not challenging this.
to get another chance to get this break train started. Iwamoto picking up the disc. San Diego in a vertical stack, unleashing on the first thing. Helton going deep, but Sevier blocks her.
What a choice. What a choice there. I mean, I understand San Diego has phenomenal deep receivers, but they are moving the disc on that inside-out space, and they don't need these throws right now.
The crowd starting to get involved, cheering for Sevier, saying no, but Dina Elimelech answers and gets a block of her own, or at least forces a terrible throw out the sideline, and Iwamoto within 10 yards of the end zone. Hammer over the top.
To the other
Colorado read it well. Iconic flying cough to Sevier. To Dixon. It was all clean before this point in the fourth quarter. Daniels floats it to Sevier, to McLaughlin.
And this is the point in the game where altitude is going to start to come into play, and just number of points, just that wear and tear of that number of points really starts to factor in.
Inside to Daniels, and then a turnover. It is a gritty point. Iwamoto wastes no time finding Ellis, not letting Colorado set up. Pajunas responsible for one turnover, now responsible for two.
This back out the Super Bowl turn.
This is messy. This is messy.
Momentum shifting in the game. But it is Colorado with the hold. Kleinkoff with the goal.
And just missed opportunities for San Diego. This was also 2 minutes off the clock.
Colorado 18, San Diego 13.
And multiple chances to get that break.
There were many turns in that point. There were blocks. There were missed decisions. But in the end, it was Colorado who gritted it out. Bassett Carmen to Kleinkoff for the score. Does it feel inevitable?
I mean, in the last offensive sequence that San Diego had, not this point, they scored in 9 seconds. Now, in fairness, those players have just played a 2.5-minute, 2-minute point. And as I look at the line downfield for San Superdome, I'm not seeing those players on the field.
They took a timeout to put those players on. I think that timeout is going to be net bad. Disc flying into the crowd. The crowd goes wild.
We have to give the disc back.
They do. Rutland brings it back and gives it to Ava Hanna. That pole, I believe it was the pole landing out of bounds, giving San Diego a shorter field at the 50.
And what I like about this line for San Diego is this is their quick squirrely line, as I would describe it. They're just players who are very comfortable in small spaces, but they have to connect.
Thorpe with the heads up D, dishing to Veldman. Good body awareness there. Maddie Boyd up the field. Thorpe with the disc. Lavoie swinging the disc quickly around in the handler space, not able to notch it upfield, but just waiting for a release point. Back to Boyd.
And nice job by Superboom switching here. These are players who are just rotating on and off players depending on who has the disc right now.
Beetle Moorcroft with the disc. Thorpe laying out, in that case, to retain possession. It looks like a call in the upfield space.
Pick was called, and so as a result, play had stopped. Now the players, I think, are discussing what the stall was going to come in at. Looks like it's going to come in at 4.
And remember, stall is 7, so not very many seconds. gets the release. Inside backhand, laying out. Thorpe has the disc. Floating. Veldman in pursuit with the score and the tumble, but gets the break for Colorado. Extending their lead is Veldman.
And a nice job by Colorado to just move the disc out of this corner and attack the side of the field where they have the advantage, just both in size and because they are now ahead of the defense by getting to what we call that break side of the field. And just nice utilizing of your teammates and just understanding, hey, you have Veldman downfield, you can just float that disc up, Veldman will come down with it. 4 assists for Veldman, first goal.
Veldman very involved and looks like she's going to get a break after another Colorado break, extending their lead. 6 points, 4 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. The winner of this game is meeting Utah Wild. At this point, it looks like Colorado Alpenglow 3-3 on the season.
You know, and there's going to be a lot to be said about that Southwest-Northwest conference, right? Because in the end, if it's Utah Wild and Colorado Alpenglow, both teams out of the Northwest netting themselves in the final, both teams with the 3-3 record coming in, there's got to be talk about some battle testing about getting through that conference to get to this point.
The last meetup of those teams was decided by 1 point. While Seattle Tempest looked on, no longer in charge of their fate, being knocked out the 2-time returning champs, Pajunas, trying to get the break train started, trying to score for San Diego.
And these resets are just so hard right now for San Diego. It's just putting a lot of energy out and not a lot of motion. Nice
The
move.
handlers doing work, but not finding release valves upfield. McLaughlin on Iwamoto. Blade goes up. Injury being called by Daniels.
Injury was called.
So disc will go back to Iwamoto. Play stops the instant an injury happens. Daniels may, from that there, have taken some contact to the eye area. Hopefully we see her come back on the field. Philly subs in, and San Diego finds Ellis to Pajunas. Finally churning in that end zone space.
The question, of course, is too little, too late, perhaps, in this point. 2 minutes, 55 seconds left on this clock. It's still a 5-point deficit.
San Diego 14.
It is Dina Elimelech with the discraft play of the game. The huge reception layout from Kayla Helton, making herself a posterizing bid yet again.
It just looks better and better every time you see it. It's so impressive every time. And while this may ultimately be a losing effort for Superbloom, they have a rematch tomorrow at 11 a.m. They're going to be playing the Falcons.
If this result holds, that will be true. Nelson finding Levin upfield to Thorpe. Pesh. Smooth flow until Pesh puts it out of bounds.
Wasn't a lot of pressure, just an errant throw in that instance. Now, San Diego, if they want to make Colorado nervous, I think they should be looking at the end zone right now.
Hannah walking the disc up to where it went out of bounds. Guarded by Thorpe. Big flick going up into space.
She's gonna get it.
In pursuit.
She's gonna get it! She's gonna get it.
And efficiently scoring for San Diego, it's Hannah to Schiltz for the UC San Diego standouts.
And what a smart play by Ava Hanna, knowing a teammate she is very familiar with. You just got to put it up and hang it and let your playmakers make these plays. That's San Diego's MO. They have incredible athletes. They have athletes who understand how to track things down and make incredible bids when they are doing it. What a fun and incredible catch. We may have called the play of the day too early. What a grab by Schiltz.
Schiltz having played on the U24 squad, winning gold and finding herself in the goal.
4th goal of the game. 4-point lead now. Okay, do you feel nervous?
We've seen collapses. Colorado Quandary was up on North Carolina 1 week ago in the semifinals and allowed North Carolina to score to bring back.
And in fairness, we have a clock, so we're looking at it right now, 1:58 left on it. Now again, the clock will be stopping on every call. It will stop if the disc lands out of bounds. Alpenglow's job now is to just, again, possession. Maintain possession.
Nelson with the disc, finding Ito in the right reset space. Boyd to Nelson on the sideline. It looks like McIntyre calling a foul or a foul no contest being signaled by the player.
Ari Nelson with the disc.
Which does stop the clock because there is the call.
Nelson doesn't take their eyes off the downfield space at all. Ito again, guarded by Pajunas. Finding the outlet, and Nelson gesturing to the break side of the field where none of their teammates are, and a turn, a turf for Colorado.
Move the disc, move the disc.
Ellis just that to McIntyre, thinks about launching it, but gives it back to Ellis instead.
Look downfield.
Manisha cannot help herself, but coach from the booth.
And good timeout call by San Diego, because all of your receivers were standing around the disc right there. And instead of that, what you need is the same thing you just saw in the last point, is an opportunity to just send the disc downfield. I'm looking for Ellie Melick. Who else at this point? Because your job at this point is to try and close this gap. Clock is both your enemy and your friend.
San Diego have taken their second and final timeout of the second half.
San Diego uses this final timeout.
Hey, Superbloom, listen up. If there are no more lane coaches, we have a clock. If lane coach, then they just throw it laterally and burn time. You're gonna go. Don't expect. I want Chrome from the 1. All right. 2, 3, and 4 is gonna go Vendetta, Kayla, Pierogi. You're gonna do like a reverse rainbow, and I'll come like under towards the 4th side.
Okay.
And Chrome, you're gonna fake under for 2 steps, and you're just going. Just throwing it. You need to score quickly.
Is it Kayla's this one? Hey, we need to be heads up. We need to be heads up for the coach, though. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, if it's supposed to work, it's on. You do need to score quickly.
Manisha, you were coaching from the booth. You saw them draw it up. What do you think of the play they're trying to run?
Again, knowing your personnel, this is on brand for Super Bowl. You know your targets. You know it's Ellie Melick who's at the bottom left of your screen, or at least was. And you know the ability for Ellie Melick to just either do it in the air or be able to extend. And so now what we're seeing is they're going to isolate and create a deep look for Ellie Melick. And the question is this disc hanging? And it's just too far.
Hannah tries to throw a one-throw score again and throws it out of the reach of Ella Melick. We've seen San Diego call a timeout and try to run a play, and now their offensive players are forced to play defense again.
And in the last 45 seconds of this game, it does start to feel like a coronation for Alpenglow in their first appearance here for championship weekend. Alpenglow looking downfield. And a great grab, but out of bounds.
Beetle Moorcroft putting it out for Sevier, out of bounds. Iwamoto puts it on the other side.
Wow.
And Schultz elevates in space.
There are
Ellis
20 seconds left in this game.
puts it up. Pajunas can't reel it in, even on the second effort.
14 seconds. 14 seconds. This Alpenglow home crowd feels it now. They know it's on. They know it's coming. You can hear it in the mics.
An injury called. And McLaughlin joins the field. Beetle Moorcroft. Starting with possession, all Alpenglow has to do is retain possession through the end of the clock. Kleinkopf can't do it.
6 seconds, still 6 seconds, looking downfield, looking for Helton.
Vendetta guarded. And as time has expired, the last efforts of San Diego fall. And it is Colorado Alpenglow, their first time at championship weekend and their first time going to the final. They take it 19-15 over San Diego Superbloom.
And such a complete win for Alpenglow. Yes, you have your stars on Alpenglow, but this was a very complete team win. This was players contributing in every facet of the game, whether it was trying to keep this very powerhouse Superbloom offense to a minimum. It's understanding how you weathered the Kayla Helton and Dina Elimelech storm, but coming out of it stronger and ready to take on a finals, what I'm going to say a rematch of what was the final game of the regular season between Colorado Alpenglow and Utah Wild.
As the teams slap hands after a great game, it was 8-8 at half. And then it was all Colorado, and part of that effort was Abby Thorpe, who joins us from the sideline. Abby, winning with your team, fans in the stands, how are you feeling?
Ultimate.
And then we're just going to deal with some audio issues right now, but we're going to be going back to Abby Thorpe in just a second. It means give us an opportunity to be able to check in, because this was a fun game for this Alpenglow fan group and for this team, and I am excited to see what's going to happen tomorrow.
Make sure the red button is on.
Abby, I think we have you now.
Hello.
We were telling you you have your teammates behind you and fans in the stand. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we did what we came here to do. I was just saying it's really amazing what can happen, and in such a short season, it's really only a handful of weeks since this all started, and this group has really come together and means a whole lot to each other. You know, we have stuff come up personally and as a team, and helping each other through it, and today is a real summary of that work.
Well, again, this is one of two games. You obviously have a big rematch tomorrow against Utah Wild for a team that you are no stranger to. How are you feeling about that matchup tomorrow?
Our first ever game was against them, so it seems fitting. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I think that that grit that they bring is similar to our own game. So thrilled to have the two teams at altitude figure it out tomorrow.
Absolutely. Talking with you before the game, you said that Alpenglow is the first time you've ever been formally coached. What is this semi-professional league environment like?
Yeah, you know, and coaching is just one of those things that is so hard to find when it comes to Ultimate. You know, I had some in Austin. Shout out to Austin Torch. But I think this is the first time that I was capable and able to really lean into all the coaching can do for you. Yeah, it means a whole lot. I feel very lucky. I love sports. I love playing team sports. I love lifting up my teammates. They make me look good. We return favors to each other.
So if we are to ask you now, be the commentator for tomorrow, what are the keys for you tomorrow against Utah Wild?
Good question. we need to maintain our energy. It seems like a short game. It's only four 12-minute quarters. But those quarters add up, especially when you have long points. So we do have to lean into our sideline and lean into the energy that we give each other, that energy that we've built up at practice. You know, we like to say we're the hardest matchups that we play all season, so they prepared us well.
Congratulations on punching your ticket into the finals. We'll let you celebrate with your teammates for 1 minute, but look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Abby Thorpe putting on a show with Colorado Alpenglow. Tomorrow in the third place game, we are going to have Bay Area Falcons versus San Diego Super Bloom from the Southwest for the third place game at 11 a.m. and at 2 p.m. the rematch between Utah Wild and Colorado Alpenglow to decide the winner.
And this is going to be why people came. They came to see who was going to come out of this. Again, shortened season. Abby Thorpe was correct about this. This is areas where narratives are going to change. They're going to be made, but more importantly, they're going to be written.
Join us tomorrow for more high-flying action in the Western Ultimate League Championship Weekend. I am Katie Killebrew, joined by Manisha Dariani, down on the field, and from our broadcast crew. Good night, but not goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow.